Hey guys, it's Chris from Vases 3D, back at 3D Printed Canada. And look, I shaved! For the first time in ages. Anyway, we're here with another Fusion 360 video. Today I am going to show you a different way to do something I've already showed you how to do. Does that make sense? Anyway, if you go back to, I think it may have actually been the first video we did in the series, I taught you how to do a vase or candy dish, whatever you wanted to call it, using multiple sketches on different levels and using lofts to connect them. So today we are going to work with mesh forms. It's kind of cool. So let's go check it out. Okay, here we are in Fusion 360. So what we're going to do is we are going to create this vase very differently than I did in a previous video. In the previous video, I used the loft tool, which is this guy right here. Today, we're going to actually use the create form and we're going to create mesh forms. So if you hear any little sneezing or sniffling going on, it's not actually me, it's my kitten. He has a cold and he decided he wants to sit in my lap. So there you go. Anyway, so what we're going to do is, notice here, if you're used to using Fusion at this point, hopefully you are, you don't see anything that says sculpt in this window over here. When we create a mesh form, it's going to open up a whole new workspace called the sculpt workspace. So I'm going to click on create and it's going to bring me right over automatically into the sculpt workspace. So now we've got an extra one here. So we're going to start off just like we do anything else with a sketch. So I'm going to create a sketch and I'm going to create it on the XY plane. And I'm just going to start with a simple circle. So I'm going to hit C for circle, start at the center point, click, drag out. I'm going to say 60 millimeters. Click enter a couple times and here we go. And that's it. We're going to stop the sketch. So now what I want to do is I want to extrude this. Now it's going to work differently, so you'll see. So you'll hit create and extrude, or you can do like I usually do and I click on the little dotted line on the right there and I pin it to the taskbar or toolbar. So I'm going to click extrude. I'm going to click on this line right here and it's automatically going to open up my extrude window. And I want this to be 20 millimeters, which is exactly what it is. So now I can say okay, and I'm good. So here's the beginning of my my mesh form face. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit modify. Now I want my transform mode to be multi, my coordinate space to be world space, and the selection filter, I need to make sure it's on edge. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to mouse over till you highlight one of these edges and double click. And now you can see it's all highlighted in yellow and we have all of these tool options. So I'm going to scroll in a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the Alt key and I'm going to click and drag this up and it's going to create a second level. So I'm going to make that 20. Then I'm going to hold the Alt key again and click and drag up and make that 40. Same thing, Alt, drag up to 60, or we'll make it 20 again. Sometimes it's random and weird, it doesn't keep going the normal way. Alt, up, 20. And we'll do one more, Alt, up. So this one we have to do 40. Don't know why it does that, but it does. So now we scroll out. And you see we have all these things here. We'll click OK and we'll be done. Okay, so now we just have this cylinder. Click on front view so we can see what we're doing here. So now we can double click on any of these. Click modify. Now, like I said, there's a whole bunch of tools here, so they do all kinds of random things. I can move this over this way or this way, but I don't want that. I could drag this up or down, but I don't want that either. I could scale this way, but what we're going to do is we're going to grab this little center nub thing. I don't know exactly what you call it, but if you click here and drag, you can drag out or in. So in this case, I'm going to drag this one in, and we'll say we'll go to 0.6, and we move up to here, and we drag out, and we'll say we'll go to 1.2. And up here, we'll do the same thing, 1.2. Oops, don't want to do that. And we click here, and we drag, and then we hit 1.2. Zoom out a little bit, and we double click here, and then we're going to drag in, and we'll take this down to 0.6, and then we'll go up here, and we'll drag, and we'll say we'll go to 0.7, and then we'll leave that where it is. But now let's go back down here and double click on the bottom, and we'll bring that in to, we'll say 0.75. Now we have a very simple vase shape. Okay. Now if we wanted to, we could double click that and modify it and bring that down to give us a little bit more of a curve here. So let's do that. So now we have a vase shape. Now we have a problem. The vase has no base. So I'm going to hide that sketch because we don't care about it anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to click on Modify. And then, where is it? Fill hole. And we're going to click right here, and bang. Hole is instantly filled. But now you have to be careful. We want to make sure we want to do it in either fill star or collapse. I usually do collapse. And now it's closed up. Now, see, I have maintain crease edges set. If you uncheck that, watch what happens. It rounds everything off. So we want to make sure we keep those creases, because those creases are what's going to give the vase a nice flat bottom. All right, now we're going to hit OK. So now we have a vase. So we have a couple things we could do here. We could leave it just like this if we wanted to print this in vase mode. So if we did just a single perimeter, or if you wanted to thicken it up, like I showed in the previous video, using a shell, in this form, or in this workspace, you're going to go to Modify, Thicken. So what I want to do is I want to thicken this. I'm going to say -1.2. We're going to change the thicken type to sharp and hit OK. So now we've got a 1.2 millimeter thick vase. So you could actually print this. It would not be in vase mode, but you could print it normally and use it as a functional vase. So all that's left is to hit Finish Form. Once we do that, we now have a vase. Okay, that is my cat sniffling. So we can actually look, we can render this and see what it will look like. We can say we wanted to make it glass. Render that real quick and see what it looks like if we made it out of glass. We're not making it out of glass, so it doesn't really matter that much. So let's go back to the model view. Alright, so there you have a very simple vase. Now the first vase, on the other hand, we did set at a thickness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this one also, but I'm going to print it on a different machine. So let's make this, send it to Simplify 3D. And here we go. So let's print this, not on Jetfire. Let's print this one on Jazz, which is my ender. So now we're going to leave this the way it is. I'm going to actually set this infill at 100%. And let's see what we got here. Shells, there we go. All right, I think that's good. We'll prepare to print this one. And here we go. You can see this is the pattern that we chose when we did the bottom infill. You won't actually really see much of any of that because it's the bottom anyway. But now we're going to be able to print this a nice thick base that's fully functional. You can see that going all the way right up to the top there. Alright, so let's print these and see how they come out. Alright, so you saw the print. Here's the teeny tiny little vase. I didn't really print it big because I didn't feel the need. So this one is the one that we use the thicken option for. So I did not print this in vase mode. This was printed normally. And here it is. This is in our blue silk PLA, by the way. There it is, vase number one. Now, let's get a little fancier. I'm gonna make a new design. So we create a form and it goes right back into the sculpt workspace. Same thing, we'll start a sketch. Right on the XY plane, and we're gonna start off again with a circle. So C, click, drag, 60, and we're good. Now I'm not gonna stop the sketch. We're gonna make this a little fancy. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit S on my keyboard shortcuts and I'm gonna create a spline. I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna click right up here. And how do I wanna do this? We'll go over here a little bit and then we'll go up here and over to here. And we'll say it's done. Okay, hit escape. So now we have a little spline form. So now what we want to do is we want to spin this all the way around. So we're going to click on that spline. We're going to create a circular pattern. We're going to choose the center point. And then we're probably going to try 25. Okay, that's not even enough. Just keep adding them until they just about touch. I'm gonna zoom in really close, and they're touching. So we'll go back down one. That's good. But now these circles aren't touching, and they have to touch. These 2 points always have to touch. So we're gonna move this one over until they touch. Okay, so now we have this cool pattern. So now we've stopped the sketch and we are going to extrude this. So extrude right here, and it's going to bring me right up into my initial 20 millimeter distance. So we'll click OK. Now We don't need to see that sketch anymore, so let's hide it. Now, I'm gonna double click here, hit modify, hold down Alt, and I'm gonna raise that up 20. I'm gonna do the same thing, Alt, up 20. Alt, up 20. I'm gonna keep doing this. That one has to be 40 for whatever reason, still don't understand it. 20. Okay, we'll say that's good. So now we have all these sections with all these little sections that we are going to be able to manipulate. So now, let's do something fun. Instead of just making it straight, let's make it twisty. So I want to see the top. And I want to see which way it twists, which way we should twist it. So I think we should twist it counterclockwise. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and look at it straight on. I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to select all of these except this bottom row. And I'm going to hit modify. And I'm going to move the angle so I can see the right handle to pull. And let's just look and make sure that looks right. Let's try the other way. I think it looks better that way. So we'll go minus 20 degrees. And click OK. Click off that. I'm going to click all of them, but that same one we just did. Click modify. Same thing, we're going to go this way. Minus 20 degrees. And we're going to keep doing this until we've gotten everything done. Minus 20. Okay. Now we have everything in a spiral. So the thing you have to be careful of when you're doing something like this is once you move all these things around, nothing can overlap or it will not complete the form properly. So you don't want to go too crazy. But now I can just start here. I'm going to start at the bottom, double click, modify, and I'm going to make that base smaller. We'll say 0.6. Then we'll move up here and we'll move it out to say 1.2. Double click here and then we'll say 1.3. And then we'll just keep going. This one will go back to 1.2. We'll go in a little, so we'll say 0.9. Right here we'll go in again, and we'll go to 0.8. We're almost at the top. So we'll go here, we'll go to 0.7. And then at the top, let's go out to 1.2. So the great thing is, if we don't like the way it looks, we can just fix it. So here, I'm going to going to go in there. I'm going to go back into modify. I'm going to make this even smaller. 0.5. And we'll go here. Oops, that was the wrong thing to do. We'll undo that. Click here. And let's just look at it, and we'll do it by eye. And I think that looks good right there. So now we're going to fill in the bottom like we did last time. We're going to modify, fill hole, and just click on any of these lines down here. Maintain crease edges, and go. Finish form, let's just make sure nothing overlapped. Bang, it worked. So now we have a finished vase that we can run in vase mode. Okay, so now I've gone ahead and exported this and I've imported it into Simplify 3D, and you can see we have our vase right here. I'm gonna print this one in vase mode, and I'm going to print this on Jetfire, which is my S4 with a Titan Aero extruder. And I use a 0.6mm nozzle on that one, so I can have a little bit of a thicker vase. So I'm going to just show you. So I've got it set in here to single outline corkscrew or vase mode. So we've got that going, and then all I have to do is hit prepare to print. And the magic will happen. All right, so now here's what we have. We have a vase that we just made, all set to print. So I'm gonna go ahead and export this and we'll print it. Here it is, vase number 2. This one I printed in vase mode using our pink silk PLA, and I printed this on Jetfire, which is my CR10 S4 with a Titan Aero with a 0.6mm nozzle. So you can see how nice and sturdy and strong this is because I used a thicker nozzle. Still only one perimeter, but it's thicker. 0.6, thicker than 0.4. Get it? Good. So you can see how it came out. This actually came out really, really nice. I was pretty happy with it. So I decided to get crazy. So I made some more. This one, same thing, using our pink silk PLA. This is just a shorter one kind of version. The little fan guys are bigger. I was just kind of playing around. It really doesn't take long, as you saw, to design these. So there's one. Here's another one. Kind of the same, kind of different, but they're all different. You can make them however you want. Watch the video, the earlier part. So this is our blue silk PLA again, and I did this on my Formbot Raptor 2. My favorite one though was the one I just said, hey, you know what? I might as well make a big one too. It's big. So I printed this one as well on my Raptor 2 in vase mode. So you can see it's just one perimeter. This is the 0.4 nozzle. So you can see it's a little bit weaker than the 0.6. So it is fairly fragile, I guess. I printed this with our Select White PLA because that's what I had sitting there. And they're all different. You can see the patterns. They're, some of them are similar. Some of them are different. You can do anything you want. In this example, I actually just made a circle like shown in the video, but instead of doing the spline technique, I just made circles that went around the perimeter of the big circle. It's not hard. Use your imagination. You can do it. So anyway, I hope you learned a little bit more about Fusion today. I always want to try to bring something new to every video, and that mesh form whole workspace is something we haven't done before, so I wanted to at least bring that to you in its basic forms. So hope you like this one. We got more coming your way. I'm going on vacation in a couple weeks, so hopefully we'll shoot a couple more before I'm gone. And don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell and do all the stuff and dance a jig and leave a comment in the box. And you can check out the link below in the description to my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of new stuff that I either have posted or am about to post on my channel. So have a look. And this is Chris from Vases 3D at 3D Printing Canada. Bye.